Hello, welcome and happy new year, happy new month. Welcome back to the best podcast in Nigeria, Africa and the world, the Don't Be Afraid podcast, and I remain your humble host, Jamila Oiza Muhammad Jamil. How are you? How's the year been? It's been really long, and I hope you did actually miss us so much, because we did miss you too. Anyways, we have a new episode for you, and it is really what has been happening in the country for the past few months. And anyways, let's just go in. We have our guests, Tolu, and we have a new face, very fine lady, Adiola. Say hi.
Hi, hello. No, that's not. This is Tolu, not Adiola. So you don't get that mixed up.
Okay, and that is Tolu and Adiola. Say hi.
Adiola.
Welcome to the podcast.
When do you stop saying Happy New Year in the year?
Well, I think it's for any point at which, say I haven't seen you in like months, and I see you, I'm like, oh, I just feel it should be customary to say Happy New Year because I haven't seen you throughout the year.
So if I see you in November for the first time,
I'll say Happy Year. You tell me Happy New Year, and you tell me Happy New Month.
Okay, all right. Okay. You live and learn. So yes, thank you.
Well, I mean, that's just my
Happy
opinion.
New Year to you too as well.
Thank you.
Excellent.
How did you find it coming here?
Today, as usual, Lagos is Lagos. It's okay, but you know, it's the usual hustle and bustle. Made it.
I was actually talking about now, and I want to believe you came with your car.
Yes, I did. Yes.
So you didn't need to have like any relationship with cash on your way here.
Okay. Oh yeah. No, talk cash. No. It's been an interesting, if I can use the word, experiment for the last for the last few months.
Yeah.
And it's been a real mix. It's been interesting watching what's happening over here in Nigeria, and then I had a period during which I traveled out of the country, and then also experiencing what happened there with regards to the use of cash. And then coming back again and then seeing it. The Chinese or Japanese have this thing about a curse, which is that you live in interesting times, and it's been an interesting time.
Yeah, definitely has.
It has. It's just it's been interesting. It's been interesting. Sort of bridge between the cashless society and not.
Yeah.
So I'm comfortable with. I have my banking app, but it took me a while to get the banking app but that's a different story. I do online banking. I have my cards and all that kind of stuff. So I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
But I didn't see the point when, or I hadn't visualized the point when, you know, you'd be able to go to a vulcanizer here in Nigeria and get that and pay.
I don't think anybody actually did see that coming. Story of really interesting. I actually want to hear it. So what happened?
What happened?
It
sounds like
and trying to pay the organizer. Actually, that day I had an old 200 naira note.
Okay.
And it was during the period where the new notes is very scarce. Nobody's taking the old notes. And I offered it to the guy, and he's like, madam, I'm not going to take the old note. Will you transfer 300? Because it's 300 in my area. And I'm like, really? And yeah.
He agreed?
Yeah, he agreed.
Okay, that's fine.
Wow.
That's fantastic. I mean, I had exactly the same thing with the vulcanizer experience, and it was an interesting, because I got, but mine was about 900 naira, and it was a quick thing of, you know, sort of like before the cash started flowing again, and it was that sort of I was wondering whether I needed to tell him before he pumped the tire. Before anything. No, I wasn't sure. I was thinking that, listen, because I didn't want to go start getting into conversations after. I thought, okay, look, let me. So I can't remember whether I told him before or it was afterwards, but it was sort of like, look, I'm going to transfer. He goes, oh, no problem. And I whisked out his phone and gave me the digits. And it was interesting because it was just, and before, that's part of the thing that's been interesting as one of the developments. That one before, you'd go somewhere, they say you can't do a transfer, you can't use your card under, you can't use a card under 1,000 naira, or else they're going to charge you more.
Whereas they're collecting transfer for 300 naira. Even 50 Even 100 naira too.
Even 50?
Yes.
Okay, no, you can't claim
even
that.
50.
You can't say that without telling us an example. On what?
So,
what does anything cost 50 naira still in Nigeria?
Okay, so I went to the market, a popular market here in Lagos, Tejo Show, and
sorry, wait. I don't know what you guys say, but sorry, if you guys you can't see her. You actually went to a market, not to a supermarket.
No.
When you see that, you're like, you won't believe you. It's like with the sleeked hair and everything. So wait, you actually went.
I have my market days.
You have, okay, all right, okay, go on, all right.
So
okay.
I went to it's a shopping complex actually, but in the market.
Okay,
in the
I know Tejo show.
So I went there and I was pressed. I really needed to use the bathroom, and the bathrooms there you have to pay 15 naira to use the bathroom. Intentionally, I went inside before and I said, because I do not have cash, and I had one shop owner telling me, you can do transfer for 15 naira, really? And when I got there, I used the bathroom, came out, and the lady's like, auntie, money. I'm like, what? Like, you're supposed to pay 15 naira. Well, I was aware, but I just wanted to. And she goes, okay, I don't have cash. And she goes, you can transfer. I should transfer 15 naira.
Oh,
really?
Mom.
What is the charges? What is
exactly?
I just told her, and so, you know what, next time I'll see you when I walked away, because I'm not doing any
So you didn't pay?
transfer. No, I did not pay.
Okay, alrighty. We don't know this woman. No. We abide by the laws and the rules. Exactly.
Well, I'm buying something in the complex. Why do I even have to pay to use the bathroom?
But that's amazing. I mean, that's the interesting part of it. I mean, from what I've seen, let's be honest, this thing has caused a lot of hardship.
It definitely did.
It has. And I think that I'm conscious of being privileged. I'm conscious of being privileged in the part of I get in my car.
Yeah, your car.
During the period when, because it was almost, as they would say, the perfect storm. There was no cash, there was fuel shortage, and the fuel, and which meant things were more expensive, and then you couldn't get hold of it. And so it has been a really difficult time. But if we step away and are able to park that part of it, you've got to say that there have been some positives. That idea of being able to transfer for 15 naira, there's no way where your organizer would ever, where the toilet would actually ever say,
so they want to collect 15 naira.
Like that. Yes, there's going to be issues now that we've got to look at the banks and the CBN to see whether or not they have now reduced their charges so that they're making that part of it easy. I haven't even looked into that. But
the charges are still the same.
It's going to be so again. So it's
that's
that
why
sort of.
I won't transfer 15 naira.
Okay.
Okay. I think this now brings us to understand. I want us to what understanding exactly it is do we have of the cash of the cause of the cash crunch.
Okay, we're going to from what I heard, it was they say that each year, every 2-3 years, they're meant to release they're meant to do redesigns, and they've been planning to do this for 10 years. But for whatever reason, they'd held back, etc., and that this was now the time when they were going to do it. If you hear some people, they say that it was done so that because it was coming up to elections, and they were trying to
curb
the whole rigging and
all of that.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's that. If you listen to those, if you listen to others, the economists, they say that, listen, look, the reality was during COVID, the way they dealt with the economic crunch was they printed more money. So that they had to mop up cash.
Yeah.
To try and cope with inflation. Please don't ask any questions. I don't do. That's why I do advertising, not finance. The reality is this, and it's not just us. It's globally what they did. And I seen something recently where they talked about America has just been printing money, and that's affected and caused problems with inflation. Yeah. So what they've had to try and do is mop up the cash. There's too much cash in the system. So to try and control they put
to give you more value.
Yeah, and our way of doing that was to say, okay, listen, you've got to change it. That was what they first came back with, and then when they now needed to get people more on side, they then did the story about, oh no, it's the curb, what do you call it? It's the curb rigging. But from a personal point of view, I still think that we make life so difficult for ourselves. So difficult for ourselves.
I honestly think that was such wrong timing.
Yeah, but it was
such a wrong timing.
No doubt about it. I mean, there's put one hat on. I think that thing of you have to look at the number of people that actually have accounts. We talk about financial inclusion, and there's data that says some people, whether it's as high as only 30% or 70%, 60% are unbanked. So you change this thing, you make cash scarce, and you now try and push people towards cashless society.
Any backup plan.
Yep, and there's no way for them.
Yeah.
So, it seems to be making life difficult for your own people.
Yeah.
With regards, and whether or not it's that, listen, look, it's short-term pain for long-term gain, because it's going to be, will then be able to control that? I don't know. They just didn't handle it very well. So there's that.
Well thought.
There is that thing.
And we already had the fuel scarcity.
The ongoing,
already 4 months in, and then.
Yeah, and there's hardships. There's every single thing. There's fuel scarcity,
It was
and
very
then
frustrating.
Yeah,
I think it did touch every phase of everybody at all points.
Or the other, no matter how little,
because it got to the stage where we now had to start buying cash. You want cash, you have to buy cash. That one was actually the most ridiculous for me, because I suffered too. So I suffered, but talk, Sha.
No, please go ahead. Go ahead.
My goodness, God. There's a time I wanted to. My mom does POS, but I wasn't in her vicinity as at the time, so I was with my aunt, and I needed to come to work. I had initially withdrew 5,000 a day 2 days before. Then I went to withdraw 3,000 naira, and then this lady tells me it's 1,000 naira for 3,000, and I'm like, sorry, I just withdrew like 5,000 naira for how much? And then she said no, and it was just surprising. I don't know, it seems like I'm actually forgetting it, but I'm not totally forgotten, but it was just really painful that I don't understand. Mommy does POS, but because I'm not close by, you're telling me because I want to withdraw 3,000, I'll pay you 1,000. Are you joking?
You needed the cash.
No, you see, again, it comes back to the evil we do to ourselves.
Exactly.
There's.
I know that you have to make business, you have to make your own profits, but not at the expense of other people's suffering. I think probably my mom was one of the few people that still held on to the regular price, or maybe a little bit higher, but not as extravagant as what others were doing.
But again, so you look, play devil's advocate is look. It's an opportunity. It's not their fault that the thing was created. It's not their fault.
And they also had to go through
hell to get
the cash.
Yeah.
But still,
the one I really just didn't understand was the feelings, the fuel station. Like, why do I have to buy with cash compulsory? And they were doing that in places like on the mainland specifically. If you want to buy petrol, you must come with cash.
Okay. Yeah, but
I don't have a car.
No, but that's because
so they took the cash and then sold to the POS
really?
operators. Yes, that was what they were doing.
Yeah, but that's not even the way I was thinking. I was thinking that they were doing it because what they were then doing was they could officially say that they were selling at 185, but then they were selling, so they were making their own bit of money extra on top of it without having to. So there was that thing.
Pay for some other tiny.
Pay for jerrycan. Pay for car.
We were not using petrol.
Yeah, and it was
Nigerians.
But it's amazing. We talk about the effects of the cash crunch. It just brings into mind our ingenuity. And forget, I'm not a fan of sometimes in some areas. I'm not. I think that some of the stuff that we allow and we put under the guise of ingenuity is almost fraudulent. But that's a different conversation. But you had people who, I was reading somewhere, maybe it was a joke, but the guy was saying that, listen, what he'd done was this was with the queue for the ATM. The guy wasn't going to go and withdraw money. What he was doing was going to go and queue. Then he'd sell his space. No, to whoever it was that was coming in, and that was it. He was making his own. That's how he was making his own money. So he would.
Away.
And as ridiculous as it might be,
but you got to admire the ingenuity of knowing that.
Yeah.
Then there's other ones.
Sharp thinking. Because you're desperate. You're actually going to buy.
I remember going out in the morning, sort of like you're going out at 6:30, 7 in the morning. People are already queuing, and not 1, 2, 3 people. That's what they're spending the whole day doing that.
Wow.
There was something I was reading that was saying that on the mainland or maybe on the island, the normal queue time was maybe 40 minutes to an hour. With the cash crunch thing, it went up to 3 hours. On the mainland or further out, from 6 hour or maybe 2 hour queue, normally it gone up to 12, 8 hours or beyond. So that kind of thing. So you got to admire that sort of thing of like, listen, the opportunity. There's another one where I don't know if you'd heard about this one about we still partied. As much as
I did not party.
Some of us didn't really feel
as bad as
cash crunch.
Well,
if
no,
you have a banking app.
There was but there was people but what they're doing.
So you partied.
No. I said people. No, Nigerians still partied.
But you partied.
No, I didn't. No,
Tolu,
because
you
I'm not.
partied?
No, not really.
Didn't you?
I went out. Oh goodness, I told you.
I did not go out.
privileged
Few
though.
drinks.
No, I'm. As I said, I'm lucky. I know that. I didn't have to. Even with the petrol, the thing for me was I was lucky enough to not even ask how much it was.
Okay.
It paid me, and I just needed petrol. So whether you were selling it at 100 naira or 200 naira, I just needed petrol. So I was not going to get involved in getting that. I could have. I'm lucky enough to be able to get away with that. So I know that.
Yeah.
I know that. But what was interesting about this one was that there were people still didn't know Wambes and what they were doing, because obviously big part of it is
Okay.
They had
I
their
saw
own cash.
separate cash.
What
I was
did
like,
They
really?
You do a transfer and you
and
get
your own cash. So I mean,
Nah.
you have to. No, which is again, it's the what you call it, the ingenuity of it, the actual that thing of the innovation, and you have to you have to applaud it.
Yeah, admire it. Actually.
Exactly. Now the question is whether or not.
Yeah.
So that's it. So as I said, there are some positives that come out of this. You're able to sort of see the positives and the negatives. The people who charged you 1,000 naira for 2,000 naira,
Yeah.
in the end they made their money. There are people who the touts and all that kind of stuff.
True,
Like that. But then there's also the people who, as I said, invented the guy who was queuing up, the people who were printing money because that's how you were doing it.
Queue up just to sell the space.
It is. It's fantastic.
Nice
is.
business.
It is.
What kind of impact do you think the cash crunch had on businesses? I think for one, I would focus on transportation because jumping boards, because that's what I do basically. So I remember there was a time during the first casting, if I wanted to come to Oshodi, I would pay 400, 500 to come to Oshodi. And when I resumed work back after the election break, I heard Oshodi was touring there. I said, Erikpe,
It came down.
I promise you, it came down. In fact, this morning in the bus, I had someone said she paid 150 from Second Rainbow to Oshodi. I said, no way.
That's a major thing I wanted to even find out.
No way.
That's amazing. That in
Really
Lagos,
amazing.
Nigeria,
When
never drops.
Never comes
It never comes
down.
down. It came down.
I hurriedly entered inside the bus
why
because
was that?
what? I think because when you don't have cash, you would want to limit. If it's not so important, you wouldn't want to go out. You won't want to go out. So they weren't seeing customers.
Yeah.
They weren't seeing people
Roads have
to.
been very free, really.
Yeah, it has been
less
free.
traffic.
Aside from today,
Yeah, but that's also
went
the
up.
petrol and everything.
Well,
I
altogether.
wonder if we're curious if anybody out there, all right, paid for not. I mean, I don't mean
Uber,
BRT. No. That we only pay with cash. Anybody pay for Danfo
Yellow
with
black buses.
Yeah, I didn't
or even
go
Keke Mara.
out.
Anybody do
Oh
that?
no,
with
my
transfer?
cousin did in school. Yeah,
surprised.
my cousin did. My cousin and my brother. So they school in Ilorin, and there's no cash, but so you have to actually transfer to the Keke Mara guy 100 naira, or you join everybody. I don't know how they do it, but she told me that they actually had to transfer every time. And if your bank is actually fucking up, well, you are going to be owing people series of 100 naira all through the week. Yeah, so they did to transfer to Keke guys.
Which is, again, I mean, if you think about it, if you think about all the times when they're talking about the cashless society, and we kept on pushing it. We kept to pushing back. We wouldn't have done these things without it. Now, the question is whether, because they started flooding back with cash and we've been given to the end of December of this year, will people go back to cash? Or will they stick with and build on this thing?
The cashless.
Yeah. I mean, it was, I'm sorry, I did, and this is me showing off because I said I traveled. Yeah, I have to let you know I traveled. Just got back.
I just got back
You can tell in the accent. You can tell in the accent. Yeah.
But I just got back too.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah?
Exactly. Thank you very much. Thank you. No, but it was I ended up in the UK and stuff, and I was away for 2 weeks and I can't half and I had to use cash.
Wow.
Honestly, and I actually took a bit of cash because took a little bit of cash, not a lot because
safe?
what do you call it, but I came back with cash. The cash I took with me, I put some of it back.
Is this
There's
you?
no need for
Huh?
it.
Is this still you?
No, it isn't. It isn't. Sorry. You know over here. I've had to change it. I've had to change it right back.
You
Change
have
it back
given
to
me the
Naira.
dollars now.
Change it back to Naira. Trust me.
Oh my God.
Trust me. No.
anyways,
no, yeah. So no, but then it's amazing how they do, because every single thing, and it was all with my phone.
Yes.
And I was embarrassed about the fact that they had to show people had to keep showing me how to use it. Like, yes. It was. I felt, it was. I mean, I was there last year, and just in the space of a year, every single thing
has changed.
Every single thing that you can just cash. So I could see the benefit. I could see somewhere where, but again, it's a society where, the transfer works.
Yeah.
Where there's light.
Networks are good.
Where all that kind of stuff works. As opposed to the one where, as part of this cash crunch, and people are cursing, I've got to name them, Zenith, and they're cursing GTB.
Access,
okay.
Give me access.
Yes, yeah.
Let me have access to my money.
Oh my God.
People are cursing them.
Speaking about that and technology, bringing it into the tech space now. First off, the government's response to the whole cash crunch was not nice. It gave off the vibe of, I don't care whether you guys are suffering or not. Just enjoy the suffering for a little while. There's a longer gain. And then secondly, speaking about the banks, technology is growing, and we have so many banks. We have the Pocket app and alerts. There's so many of them, and in fact, did anybody wash plates in any restaurants? Yeah. It's actually so bad that you want to transfer or buy card or anything and your bank is failing. And then it got to a point I took a bike, and then the bike man was telling me, he actually asked me for transfer, and I said, no, it's cash I have. And then he said, madam, go and download OPay. Or no, OFE they pay now, or go download OFE. And I'm like, this bike man is telling me to go download OPay. Because how is it that majority of the bank we have actually failed us, and then OPay and PayPal, PalmPay, we're the only ones working.
I think that I think again it speaks to why we've talked about the ingenuity of Nigerians. I also think it speaks to the total lack of infrastructure and planning of the corporates or of the people that should know better. Yeah, the big thing about OPay and PalmPay was that, listen, let's face it, they're Chinese. And these guys were ready to take advantage of this thing. People were opening, because if you look at it, the one like the vulcanizer I paid to had no OPay account.
Yeah, so many of them.
Do you have an OPay account?
No,
I don't even have yet.
I do not.
And it was all with his just his mobile. I was asking somebody I want to transfer to him, and he said, "Oh yeah, what's the number?" He goes, "OPay account." I said, "Okay, what is it?" He goes, "Oh, just my phone number."
Yeah.
And
traders
exactly
use OPay because it's really seamless,
and it is, and then you ask yourself, and the banks will do all the stuff and do the ads and all that kind of stuff. And my biggest issue as well was also that thing about, even if the network was failing, I would then see the money being debited from my account.
Yeah.
Yes, I had that.
So days after,
I have a company owing me money right now,
and I'd call and you tell me
to pay twice.
Yeah, I'd call and then you tell me that, and then you tell me that, it's going to take you 3 to 8 working days
to get it right.
That's my cash.
In my own situation, the person I purchased from got the money, but at that moment it didn't go through, and I had to do another one. And now I've complained to my bank. My bank is telling me that the money's left my account. So it means I have to go back to. And
then the stress of actually going back and forth to check where the lag is.
No, we had a situation where we went for a company outing and stuff like that. And that same sort of thing happened. We did the payment twice. It took us about 2-3 months to get the money back from those people.
What?
It did. And we had to try and
take time. They have to look into the
they have to
is it actually take that long?
And we had escalated. So luckily somebody I know knew the owner, and that was the way we got it back. Was the person called the owner and said, "Oh, look, come on," and then that's how we got the money back within 24 hours.
Can you see? It can actually be fast, but it takes so much time.
No, but this is because then it's the same thing.
Because they don't want to give you your money back.
It's actually so shameful that the banks. In our dire need of them the most, they actually had to fail us. Imagine going to the bank or going to a restaurant or going out and you're trying to transfer. It should be seamless, and you're like, hey, madam, you need a walk. Oh, sorry, you have to go and wash plate. Or you have to pay for what you eat, and if you cannot pay, go and wash my plate. Or it's really embarrassing. But I did not actually pass through it. I did not go out. But come on, Chelsea, come on now.
But then the challenge then is you then turn around and say, listen, look, if the OPays work, the PalmPays work.
What are they doing right?
Yeah, why can't you guys work? What is
exactly.
What's it?
So and that's like 2 of them, and we have numerous amounts of banks and
But again, sorry, I'm not a fan of the banks anyway. But a couple of times when I went in, those guys suffered.
Oh.
No. I mean, seriously, I went to
didn't
one.
even go close.
I had to a couple of times. No, even on the good day, if I have to go to the bank, it's the worst thing. Worst experience.
So did you study? You learned boxing, yeah?
No, I do boxing exercise. I'm not going to pretend. Yeah.
You did you?
Oh no, at all. What's the point? No. Because all this was. There's no point. Because the amazing thing was going into a bank at 11:30 and they'd already closed in the morning. They had to. During that period, the staff were wearing mufti. The staff and even the security guards.
They had to
because
for their own safety.
For their own safety.
Yes,
So that's
I
another
really
point.
like.
Yeah, I felt really sorry for them. And I remember going in. I was in the bank and stuff. And I remember the branch manager was trying to explain to somebody that look, we don't have cash. And the person was just not hearing. It was like, no, but I tried. The guy goes, no. But
There is no cash.
we don't have cash. We don't have cash.
What? My money's with you. You don't have cash.
And those people actually went naked in the bank.
Yes.
And
yes. I mean, imagine the kind of situation that kind of person would have.
See your aunt naked in the bank.
Don't do transfer.
For me, love me.
The older generation. They
Yes.
don't believe in doing transfers. They like.
Let me see my money from my hand.
Which I mean, again, so there's all that, you said about the government and stuff. There's the education.
Yeah.
They've been trying to educate us with cashless society for a while. Let's be honest.
Okay.
We just didn't want to listen.
Yeah.
So whether this was their subversive tactic to get us to move, who knows? But whichever one it is.
It worked painfully. It painfully worked.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We'll ask this. We'll go back to this question in 6 months. Let's see, because don't forget, if you can come back and tell me that the Danfos in 6 months are accepting transfers, okay? If you can tell me that people are now still using transfer, then we'll have a conversation. I wonder whether or not it's just we were forced to, and then the habit has not been formed yet. And so what will happen is we'll go back to the usual.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the usual because it's still, the banks are still failing us.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Oh, they're
Right?
trying. They're trying anyways.
They're still failing us.
They're not
So
there yet.
You talk about your cousin.
Opay.
You talk
Opay never fails.
You talk about your cousin who and I.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm visualizing that idea of you get to you're taking the keke, you get there, and then what? You then stay and wait and then do transfer. Where'd you see the number, the account number? Does that, because that one of like, I mean, I've been somewhere before where I bought something and I had to transfer and I had to wait for them to
get the
receive
alert.
it.
Yeah, that part annoys me.
And that can be 10, 15, 20 minutes and
That
and you're just standing there.
waiting.
So I want to see how the keke does it. That's sort of like,
when it has to go for another round of business.
Yeah.
Speaking of Pampi and all, what about Naira? I mean, nobody heard whiff of it. I didn't hear anything about it. It was supposed to come into play in this kind of situation, but it never did. Instead, Ope and Pampi did.
Okay. The government does really well. My name is Tolu. I'm a supporter of the government. Yes.
What is
I don't know who she is. I don't know where she came from.
What is
No, you're not doing that. Tolu's putting me on this.
Whatever the government does is fantastic.
Yes, beautiful.
So I'm the one.
Thank you very much.
Am I the deviant?
That's my answer. That is my answer.
Oh my God. So how do you think?
But again, sorry.
How can they actually make these things better?
It speaks to the. I mean, you talk about the government not telling them from the people. It just speaks to lack of planning. Yeah. I mean, whether this was an upgrade
or a thought out plan.
I mean, if you were to do this in your company, your own personal company, there'll be people whose heads be rolling.
Yes, true.
I think it's something you could afford to do, but would rather not.
Yeah. So how they did it,
just want to rush it,
and I still maintain this thing of they didn't print enough cash.
Oh yes, and even now
now that they've actually
we all
bring back.
Where is it?
That's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
where is it?
Oh, it's back.
They've given us the.
It's back now.
It's back.
And now
I thought they shredded.
And they're still bringing out the really, really dirty
notes. I think they still
ones.
have cash because I hardly have cash. I mean, I wouldn't go to the ATM to queue.
When you see a big woman, you know a big woman.
Thank you very much.
When you see a big woman,
that's why I said that she goes to market. It's like, well, it's impressive.
No, but really, I rely on my transfers and my ATM card. It does a lot. I really don't need the cash, except for when I have to deal with the organizer that does not want. transfer.
Or
people that don't want
well,
transfer.
really, I wish that when they eventually, since the cash is back now and they said we'll
temporary.
Sorry?
Temporary.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's
Don't
true.
get
Temporarily.
Don't get comfortable.
That's true. So temporarily. And when the new notes get back or whatever it is they plan on doing, they really should actually think about this thing very well. The government, I'm coming for you, but don't come for me. Oh, you should actually give us a well thought out plan so people don't get to suffer again. The suffering was actually too much. People died. People slums because there's no cash to buy pure water. Nobody will take old notes and stuff and give you because they don't even have the change to give you back. People died. People were thirsty. The suffering was actually too much. I hope, and people should not be afraid. Banks, please, you can do better. I mean, you go and learn from Opie and Pampe. I mean, it says it all. Don't be afraid.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
high five on that one. High five too. Anyway, so would actually really love to hear how you guys coped during the cash crunch period. Want to hear all your experiences.
And sorry, I want to hear the weirdest thing that you were able to pay for, the thing you didn't. So did you manage to pay for
15 naira?
Yes. What? I want to know how
before Okada.
Yeah.
Okada, yeah.
Okada, I'm there. That I was impressed by, even though the Okada's a band. Yes, but that's another story.
In some places in my area, it's not banned yet.
Right.
But yeah, so let us know in the comment section. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Don't be afraid on Instagram, Twitter, and listen to us. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Music, Google Podcasts, and we love you.
Bye.
Bye.